Hello viewers, welcome to my channel Online Biology Tutorials. In today's live, we will be reading this chapter Sound taken from class 8 NCERT used in CBSE board. In case you are interested in hearing the audio of first 9 chapters, a playlist has already been uploaded on my channel with the name Audiobook Class 8 Science. So whenever you'll be hearing the audio of this chapter, please do share it with your friends. So let's begin with the reading of chapter 10, Sound. How do you come to know that a period is over in your school? You come to know easily that someone is at your door when he knocks or you hear the sound of the doorbell. Most of the time, you can make out that someone is approaching you by just hearing the footsteps. You might have played a game called hide and seek. In this game, a person is blindfolded and has to catch the remaining players. How is the blindfolded person able to guess which player is closest to her? Now, this side. Sound plays an important role in our lives. It helps us to communicate with one another. We hear a variety of sounds in our surroundings. Make a list of sounds you hear in your surroundings. In the music room of your school, you hear the sounds produced by musical instruments like flute, tabla, harmonium, etc., as seen in figure 10.1. How is sound produced? How does it travel from one place to another? How do we hear sound? Why are some sounds louder than others? We shall discuss such questions in the chapter. Next page. I hope the screen is visible to everybody. 10.1 Sound is produced by a vibrating body. Touch the school bell when not in use. What do you feel? Again, touch it when producing sound. Can you feel it vibrating? Activity 10.1 Take a metal plate or a pan, hang it at a convenient place in such a way that it does not touch any wall. Now strike it with a stick as shown in figure 10.2. Do you hear a sound? Touch the plate or pen gently with your finger. Do you feel the vibrations? Again, strike the plate with the stick and hold it tightly with your hands immediately after striking. Do you still hear the sound? Touch the plate after it stops producing sound. Can you feel the vibrations now? Activity 10.2 Take a rubber band, put it around the longer side of a pencil box as seen in figure 10.3. Insert two pencils between the box and the stretched rubber. Now plug the rubber band somewhere in the middle. Do you hear any sound? Does the band vibrate? As you learnt in class 7, the to and fro or back and forth motion of an object is called vibration. When a tightly stretched band is plugged, it vibrates and produces sound. When it stops vibrating, it does not produce any sound. Activity 10.3 Take a metal dish, pour water in it, strike it at its edge with a spoon as seen in figure 13.4. Do you hear a sound? Again, strike the dish and then touch it. Can you feel the dish vibrating? Strike the dish again. Look at the surface of water. Do you see any waves there? Now hold the dish. What change do you observe on the surface of water? Can you explain the change? Is there a hint to connect sound with the vibrations of the body? Next page. We see that a vibrating object produces sound. In some cases, the vibrations are easily visible to us, but in most cases, their amplitude is so small that we cannot see them. However, we can feel them. Activity 10.4 Take a hollow coconut shell and make a musical instrument iktara. You can also make it with the help of an earthen pot as seen in figure 10.5. Play this instrument and identify its vibrating part. So this is iktara shown to you in figure 10.5. Make a list of familiar musical instruments and identify their vibrating parts. A few examples are given in table 10.1. Complete rest of the table. Table 10.1 is asking you to write the vibrating part of the instrument that is producing sound. So veena, stretched string produces the sound. Tabla, stretched membrane produces the sound. So similarly, you need to write five others. Many of you might have seen the manjira or cymbals, the ghatam and the nut, mud pots and the kartal. These musical instruments are commonly used in many parts of our country. These instruments are simply beaten or struck as seen in figure 10.6. Can you name a few other musical instruments of this type? You too can make a musical instrument. So manjira has been shown here and ghatam has been shown here. So this is an earthen pot. When it is struck by hand in a particular rhythm, it produces music. Next page. I hope the screen is visible. Figure 10.5 takes 6 to 8 bowls or tumblers, fill them with water up to different levels, increasing gradually from one end to the other. Now take a pencil and strike the bowls gently. Strike all of them in succession. You will hear pleasant sounds. This is your Jaltarang. When we pluck the string of an instrument like the sitar, the sound that we hear is not only that of a string. The whole instrument is forced to vibrate, and it is the sound of the vibration of the instrument that we hear. Similarly, when we strike the membrane of mridangam, the sound that we hear is not only that of the membrane but of the whole body of the instrument. Now, this side. When we speak, does any part of your body vibrate? 10.2 Sound produced by humans. Speak loudly for a while, or sing a song, or buzz like a bee. Put your hand on your throat as shown in figure 10.8. Do you feel any vibration? In humans, the sound is produced by the voice box or the larynx. Put your fingers on the throat and find a hard bump that seems to move when you swallow. This part of the body is known as the voice box. It is at the upper end of the windpipe. Two vocal cords are stretched across the voice box or larynx in such a way that it leaves a narrow slit between them for the passage of air, as seen in figure 10.8. When the lungs force air through the slit, the vocal cords vibrate, producing sound. Muscles attached to the vocal cords can make the cords tight or loose. When the vocal cords are tight and thin, the type of quality of voice is different from that when they are loose and thick. Let us see how the vocal cords function. Activity 10.6. Take two rubber strips of the same size, place these two pieces one above the other and stretch them tight. Now blow air through the gap between them as seen in figure 10.9a. As the air blows through the stretched rubber strips, a sound is produced. You can also take a piece of paper with a narrow slit and hold it between your fingers as shown in figure 10.9b. Now blow through the slit and listen to the sound. Our vocal cords produce sound in a similar manner. So the vocal cords in men are about 20 millimeter long and in women they are about 15 millimeter long. Children have very short vocal cords. This is the reason why the voices of men, women and children are different. 10.3 Sound needs a medium for propagation. When you call up your friend who is standing at a distance, your friend is able to hear your voice. How does the sound propagate or travel to her? Activity 10.7. Take a metal or a glass tumbler, make sure that it is dry. Place a cell phone in it. Remember that the cell phone must not kept in water. Ask your friend to give a ring on this cell phone from another cell phone. Listen to the ring carefully. Now surround the rim of the tumbler with your hands as seen in figure 10.10. Put your mouth on the opening between two hands. Indicate to your friend to give a ring again. Listen to the ring while sucking air from the tumbler. Does the sound become fainter as you suck air? Remove the tumbler from your mouth. Does the sound become loud again? Can you think of an explanation? Is it possible that the decreasing amount of the air in the tumbler had something to do with the decreasing loudness of the ring? Indeed, if you had been able to suck all the air in the tumbler, you will not listen any sound. Actually, sound needs a medium to travel. When air has been removed completely from a vessel, it is said that there is a vacuum in the vessel. The sound cannot travel through a vacuum. Does sound travel in liquids? Let us find out. Activity 10.8. Take a bucket or a bathtub, fill it with clean water. Take a small bell in one hand. Shake this bell inside the water to produce sound. Make sure that the bell does not touch the body of the bucket or the tub. So, whatever they have spoken, they have illustrated here. Now, this side. Place your ear gently on the water surface. Be careful, the water should not enter in your ear. Can you hear the sound of the bell? Does it indicate that sound can travel through liquids? Oh, that is how whales and dolphins might be communicating underwater. Let us find out if sound can travel through solids also. Activity 10.9. Take a meter scale or a long metal rod and hold one end to your ear. Ask your friend to gently scratch or tap at the other end of the scale as seen in figure 10.12. Can you hear the sound of the scratching? Ask your friends around you if they were able to hear the same sound. Next page. You can also perform the above activity by placing your ear at one end of a long wooden or metallic table and asking your friend to gently scratch the other end of the table. We find that the sound can travel through wood or metal. In fact, sound can travel through any solid. You can perform interesting activities to show that the sound can also travel through strings. Have you ever made a toy telephone as seen in figure 10.14? Can you say that sound can travel through strings? We have learned so far that vibrating objects produce sound and it is carried in all the directions in a medium. The medium could be a gas, liquid, or a solid. How do we hear it? Now, this side. 10.4. We hear sound through our ears. The shape of the outer part of the ear is like a funnel. When sound enters it, it travels down a canal at the end of which there is a thin stretched membrane. It is called the eardrum. It performs an important function. To understand what the eardrum does, let us build a tin can model of the eardrum. Activity 10.10. Take a plastic or tin can. Cut its end, stretch a piece of rubber balloon across one end of the can, and fasten it with a rubber band. Put 4 or 5 grains of dry cereal on the stretched rubber. Now ask your friend to speak hooray, hooray from the open end as seen in figure 10.15. Observe what happens to the grain. Why do the grains jump up and down? Next page. The eardrum is like a stretched rubber sheet. Sound vibrations make the eardrum vibrate, as seen in 10.16. The eardrum sends vibrations to the inner ear. From there, the signal goes to the brain. That is how we hear. Figure 10.16 Human ear. We must never put a sharp pointed or hard thing into our ear. It can damage the eardrum. The damaged eardrum can impair hearing. 10.15 Amplitude, time period, and frequency of a vibration. We have learned that to and fro motion of an object is known as vibration. This motion is called oscillatory motion. You have already learned in earlier classes about the oscillatory motion and its time period. The number of oscillations per second is called the frequency or of oscillation. Frequency is expressed in hertz. Its symbol is Hz. Frequency of 1 Hz or hertz is one oscillation per second. If an object oscillates 20 times in 1 second, what would be its frequency? You can recognize many familiar sounds without seeing the objects producing them. How is it possible? These sounds must be different to enable you to recognize them. Have you ever thought what factors make them different? Amplitude and frequency are two important properties of any sound. Can we differentiate sounds on the basis of their amplitudes and frequencies, loudness and pitch? Take a metallic tumbler and a tablespoon. Strike the tablespoon gently at the brim of the tumbler. Hear the sound produced. Now bang the spoon on the tumbler and hear the sound produced again. Is the sound louder when the tumbler is struck harder? Now suspend a small thermocol ball touching the rim of the tumbler as seen in figure 10.17. Vibrate the tumbler by striking it. See how far the ball is displaced. The displacement of the ball is a measure of the amplitude of vibration of the tumbler. Now strike the tumbler gently and then a little harder. Compare the amplitudes of vibrations of the tumbler in the two cases. In which case is the amplitude larger? Next. Loudness of sound is proportional to the square of the amplitude of the vibration producing the sound. For example, if the amplitude becomes twice, the loudness increases by a factor of 4. The loudness is expressed in a unit called decibel, abbreviated as small d capital B. The following table gives some idea of the loudness of sound coming from the various sources. So normal breathing is 10 decibels, soft whisper is 30 decibels, normal conversation is 60 decibels, busy traffic is 70 decibels, and average factory is 80 decibels. Above 80 decibels, the noise becomes physically painful. Next paragraph. The loudness of sound depends on its amplitude. When the amplitude of vibration is large, the sound produced is loud. When the amplitude is small, the sound procured is feeble. Compare the sound of a baby with that of an adult. Is there any difference? Even if two sounds are equally loud, they differ in some way. Let us see how. I wonder why my voice is different from that of my teacher. The frequency determines shrillness or pitch of a sound. If the frequency of vibration is higher, we say that the sound is shrill and has a higher pitch. If the frequency of vibration is lower, we say that the sound has a lower pitch. For example, a drum vibrates with a low frequency, therefore, it produces a low pitched sound. On the other hand, a whistle has a high frequency and therefore produces a sound of higher pitch. A bird makes a high pitched sound, whereas a lion makes a low pitched roar. However, the roar of a lion is very loud while the sound of the bird is quite feeble. Every day you hear the voices of children and adults. Do you find any difference in their voices? Can you say that the frequency of the voice of a child is higher than that of an adult? Usually, the voice of the women has a higher frequency than that of a man. 10.6 Audible and inaudible sounds. We know that we need a vibrating body for the production of sound. Can we hear the sound of all vibrating bodies? The fact is that sounds of frequencies less than about 20 vibrations per second or 20 hertz cannot be detected by the human ear. Such sounds are called inaudible. On the higher side, sounds of frequencies higher than about 20,000 vibrations per second or 20 kilohertz are also not audible to the human ear. Thus, for human ear, the range of audible frequencies is roughly from 20 to 20,000 hertz. Some animals can hear sounds of frequencies higher than 20,000 hertz. Dogs have this ability. The police use high frequency whistles, which dogs can hear but humans cannot. The ultrasound equipment familiar to us for investigating and tracking many medical problems works at frequencies higher than 20,000 hertz. Noise and music. We hear different types of sounds around us. Is the sound always pleasing? Does a sound sometimes cause discomfort to you? Some sounds are pleasant to the ear, whereas some aren't. Suppose construction work is going on in your neighborhood. Are the sounds coming from the construction site are pleasing? Do you enjoy the sounds produced by horns of buses and trucks? Such unpleasant sounds are called noise. In a classroom, if all the students speak together, what would be the sound produced be called? On the other hand, you enjoy sounds from musical instruments. Musical sound is one which is pleasing to the ear. Sound produced by a harmonium is a musical sound. The string of a sitar also gives out a musical sound. But if a musical sound becomes too loud, would it remain melodious? 10.8 Noise pollution. You already know about air pollution. Presence of unwanted gases and particles in air is called air pollution. Similarly, presence of excessive and unwanted sounds in the environment is called noise pollution. Can you list Some sources of noise pollution. Major causes of noise pollution are sounds of vehicles, explosions, including bursting of crackers, machines, loudspeakers, etc. What sources in the home may lead to noise? Television and transistor radio at high volumes, some kitchen appliances, desert coolers, air conditioners, all contribute to noise pollution. What are the harms of noise pollution? Do you know that the presence of excessive noise in the surroundings may cause many health related problems? Lack of sleep, hypertension, high blood pressure, anxiety, and many more health disorders may be caused by noise pollution. A person who is exposed to a loud sound continuously may get temporary or even permanent impairment of hearing. Measures to limit noise pollution. To control noise, we must control the sources of noise. How can this be achieved? For this, silencing devices must be installed in aircraft engines, transport vehicles, industrial machines, and home appliances. How can the noise pollution be controlled in a residential area? All noisy operations must be conducted away from any residential area. Noise producing industries should be set up away from such areas. Use of automobile horns should be minimized. TV and music systems should be run at low volumes. Trees must be planted along the roads and around buildings to cut down on the sounds reaching the residents, thus reducing the harmful effects of noise pollution. Thank you to the one listener who is still connected. Hearing impairment. Total hearing impairment, which is rare, is usually from birth itself. Partial disability is generally the result of a disease, injury, or age. Children with impaired hearing need special care by learning sign language. Such children can communicate effectively. Because speech develops as the direct result of hearing, a child with a hearing loss may have defective speech also. Technological devices for the hearing impaired have made it possible for such persons to improve their quality of life. Society can do much to improve the living environment for the hearing impaired and help them live normal lives. So, in this chapter, these are the keywords that we have used till now: amplitude, eardrum, frequency, hertz, larynx, loudness, noise, oscillation, pitch, time period, vibration, voice box, and windpipe. So, the summary is given here in points. Let's move ahead. Sound is produced by vibrating objects. In human beings, the vibration of the vocal cords produces sound. Sound travels through the medium, gas, liquid, or solid. It cannot travel in vacuum. The eardrum senses the vibration of sound. It sends the signals to the brain. This process is called hearing. The number of oscillations or vibrations per second is called frequency of oscillation. The frequency is expressed in hertz or Hz. Larger the amplitude of vibration, the louder is the sound. Higher the frequency of vibration, the higher is the pitch, and shriller is the sound. Unpleasant sounds are called noise. Excessive or unwanted sounds lead to noise pollution. Noise pollution may pose health problems for human beings. Attempts should be made to minimize noise pollution. Plantation on the roadside and elsewhere can reduce noise pollution. So, with this, we are done with the reading of the sound chapter of Class 8 NCRT taken from CBSE book. So, in case you are interested in hearing the audio of first 9 chapters, you can come to the playlist of my channel, and there you will be able to find. Whenever you will hear the audio of this chapter, please do share it with your friends so that they can also avail the benefit. Stay connected. See you in next video.